The first of the three behavior change models we are going to discuss is called the health belief model. This was developed by Rosenstock in the mid-1960s. It's important to first understand the definition of belief. A belief is an appraisal of the relationship between some object, action, or idea, so for example smoking, and some attribute of that object, action, or idea. For example, smoking is an expensive, dirty habit that causes cancer, as opposed to someone who believes smoking is sociable and relaxing. So those are two different beliefs. These beliefs arise from different factors in your life. You can see in the model on the screen that the modifying factors are at the top, and they influence 4 different constructs. Perceived susceptibility, or an individual's assessment of his or her chances of getting the disease. Perceived seriousness, an individual's judgment as to the severity of the disease. Perceived benefits, which are an individual's conclusions as to whether the new behavior is better than what he or she is already doing. And perceived barriers, an individual's opinion as to what will stop him or her from adopting the new behavior. The health belief model is by far the most commonly used theory in health education and health promotion. You will also notice that there's a box at the bottom that says cues to action. For example, reminders or advice. Cues to action are factors that will start a person on the way to changing. So maybe they're right on the brink of making a change and then someone gives them some advice or a reminder, and that kind of starts the behavior change. You will also see on the line between the perceived threat and engaging in the health promoting behavior the word self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is a person's belief in one's own ability to do something. So a higher self-efficacy will mean more likely a change will occur. Right now would be a good time to pause the video and ask yourself to consider the behaviors that you have that may undermine your health and evaluate them in light of this model. The social cognitive model proposes that 3 factors interact in a reciprocal fashion to promote and motivate change: social environment, our inner thoughts and feelings, and our behaviors. Essentially, it says that we change our behavior in part by observing models in our environment. The trans-theoretical model proposes that the likelihood of behavior change will be enhanced if we have proper reinforcement and help during each of the following phases: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and termination. People don't necessarily move through the trans-theoretical model stages in a sequence. We may make progress in more than one stage at a time, or we may shuttle back and forth from one stage to another. People in the pre-contemplation stage have no current intention of changing. They may have tried to change a behavior before and given up, or they may be in denial or unaware of any problem. People in the contemplation phase recognize that they have a problem and begin to contemplate the need to change. Despite this acknowledgement, people can languish in this stage for years, realizing that they have a problem but lacking the time or energy to really make the change. In the preparation phase, people are close to taking action. They've thought about what they might do and even may have come up with a plan. During the action stage, people begin to follow their action plans. Those who have prepared for a change appropriately and made a plan of action are more ready for action than those who have given little thought. In the maintenance stage, a person continues the action begun in the action stage and works towards making these changes a permanent part of his or her life. In this stage, it's important to be aware of the potential for relapses and to develop strategies for dealing with challenges. In the termination phase, the behavior is so ingrained that constant vigilance may be unnecessary. The new behavior has become an essential part of daily living. Building off the trans-theoretical model, we are now going to talk about behavior change. The exact steps you take to successfully change a health behavior. The first thing to do is to increase your awareness. So this is learning the facts about behaviors that influence health and wellness. So this course is really a great place to start. Then you want to take stock of all the health determinants that affect you and perhaps make a list of the positive and negative. I've actually included in this week's folder, in the week 1 folder, a lifestyle assessment, 2 different options that you can, one of them is a shorter version and one of them is a more in-depth version. Feel free to take these, and that might help you in towards deciding what you want to do for your behavior change project, which if you haven't looked yet at that assignment, that's also in this week's folder, but it will be a semester-long project to change a specific behavior related to health. I just want to make a note here. Be very careful. The internet provides an abundance of resources and a lot of great resources, but you have to be careful as to which resources you are using. You can't believe everything you read on the internet. So look for .gov, .edu, and .org extensions, and also look for well-established peer-reviewed journal articles for reliable information. Some reliable websites are listed here at the bottom of the screen. So the next stage of successfully changing a health behavior is the contemplation stage. This is where you contemplate the change that you're going to make. You've examined your current health habits and patterns and identified some that you might want to change. Now you want to start thinking about other determinants that make behaviors more or less likely for you. So these can include the following factors. Predisposing factors. So those, for example, let's take smoking. If your parents smoke, you're 90% more likely to start smoking than someone whose parents don't smoke. So just living in a smoking family predisposes you to smoking. So that would be a barrier to changing, probably. There's also enabling factors. So this has to do more with your peers and who you're surrounding yourself with. So if your peers smoke, you're 80% more likely to smoke. Because they kind of enable that behavior. It makes it easy, to get your cigarettes and you have people you're smoking with. That enables the behavior. Also, when you're changing a behavior, you want to think about who's going to reinforce that change. Who's going to reinforce the behavior you're trying to do. So if you decide to stop smoking, but your family and friends smoke, it's much more likely that you'll lose your resolve since you're not surrounded by people who are not smoking. So after you've considered those factors, what you're predisposed to, who's enabling you, who's going to reinforce a change, then you want to come up with your clear target behavior and what you're going to try to do about it to make that change. So don't limit the focus on the behavior and its effects. You also want to consider the enablers, the predisposers, everything involved, and also any obstacles you will encounter, and learn all about overcoming these and what resources there are available to you to help you through the change. You also want to take this time to assess your motivation and your readiness to change. Motivation is not just a feeling, but it's a social and cognitive force that directs your behavior. Motivation must be combined with common sense, commitment, and a realistic understanding of how to best move from point A to point B. Readiness is the state of being that precedes a behavior change. Another thing that is very important to develop in order to successfully change a behavior is self-efficacy, which I mentioned in the HBM, is the belief that you are capable of achieving your goals and influencing events in your life. It's a critical factor influencing your health status. This goes straight along with having an internal locus of control. So people who have a stronger internal locus of control believe that they have the power over their actions. So things are not occurring to them, they are making things happen. They are more driven by their own thoughts and are more likely to state their own opinions, become their own best health advocates, and act in accordance with their own beliefs. This is opposed to someone who has an external locus of control, where they view things as happening to them. Thoughts such as, why bother? Or there's nothing I can do about my future. And why does everything always happen to me? Those are people with external locuses of control talking. The next step is to prepare for change. So the big thing in this step is that you're going to set a realistic goal that you can truly achieve, that will create the desired behavior change. The best way to do this, or a highly recommended way to do this, is to use the SMART system. So making sure that your goal is specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-oriented. And this slide is extremely important for your behavior change contract that you will be doing this week. You want to make sure that both your long-term goal and your short-term goals that you map out for your behavior change plan are SMART. So the first thing you want to make sure is that your goal is specific. So what and why are you doing it? The what outlines exactly what you will need to do. The why gives meaning to your goal and outlines the benefits of achieving your goal. You also want to make sure you include the specific strategies. So this first specific part of the SMART system is very important. So what, how, and why. That's specific. The next one is measurable. So how much, how many. This is how you determine when you will progress. For example, let's say you wanted to improve your strength. Maybe you could be specific in saying that I'm going to do 20 push-ups every night for a week. The how much and how many is 20. The specific thing that you're going to do is push-ups. And your overall goal is to improve your strength. Another thing to make sure that you do is to make your goal action-oriented. So an action-oriented goal says, I will do something. If you instead say, I will not do this, that's not an action-oriented goal. That's saying, I will not do something. So it's important that your goals say, I will do this. Furthermore, you want to make sure that it's a realistic goal. So going back to the push-up example, if you, at this point in time, can't do a single push-up, then to say that you're going to do 20 every night is not a realistic goal. Finally, you want to make sure that you set a deadline. So let's kind of further, the first example I said, for a week. I will do that for a week. So that gives you a deadline, a set amount of time. I will do my 20 push-ups every night for a week. But another way you can see this too is you can say I will be doing push-ups every night to be able to do 50 in a row by the end of the semester. That's also a way you could set a deadline. I will be able to do a certain amount of something by the end of the semester. And it doesn't have to be a physical health related goal. This is just the push-up example is just what I'm using. After you've laid out your SMART goal, there's also a couple other things you need to do to prepare for this change you're going to make. Shaping is a stepwise process of making a small series of changes. So this is why on the behavior change contract I have you break down your long-term goal into 3 shorter-term goals. So this is a shaping process. It involves starting slowly, keeping small steps and making sure that they're achievable, and mastering one step before moving on to the next one. This gives you small kind of internal rewards for achieving your goal, and you feel like you're accomplishing something instead of being still far from your ultimate long-term goal. You can feel successful in accomplishing the shorter term. Also, you want to make sure you build into your plan an anticipation of barriers. So general barriers to change include overambitious goals, which we kind of just talked about, self-defeating beliefs and attitudes, so that's your internal versus external locus of control, failing to accurately assess your current state of wellness, lack of support and guidance, so that goes into your predispositions or enabling factors. And also emotions. Emotions can also often sabotage your efforts and sap your will. So you want to have built into your plan ways to deal with whatever you anticipate might be a barrier. Also, you want to enlist others as change agents. So you can model your behavior after someone who you maybe see that is a healthy person, and they're doing something in a way that you want to do it. So learn specific behaviors by watching others perform them. That's what modeling is. Often family members, friends, and professionals can offer unique and valuable support on our efforts if you just let it make them aware that you're trying to make this change. So in order to do this, for this course, you're going to actually formalize this and create the behavior change contract that you will post in your journal at the end of next Tuesday. By 5 o'clock on Tuesday, you'll need to post your behavior change contract. So for specifics, please see the folder this week for those instructions. Finally, with step 4 of the behavior change process, it's time to take action. So behavior change strategies can include visualization, countering, controlling the situation, changing your self-talk, rewarding yourself, and journaling. So mental rehearsal has actually been proven to help make changes. So if you want to first visualize the new behavior, that'll help make the process easier. Also, an important thing to do is to learn how to counter. Countering means substituting a desired behavior for an undesirable one. You may want to stop eating junk food, for example, but quitting cold turkey isn't realistic. Instead, you can compile a list of substitute healthy foods that you can go to when you feel a craving coming on. You also want to control the situation. Any behavior has antecedents and consequences. Antecedents are aspects of the situation that come beforehand and are cues that stimulate you to act in a certain way, and consequences are a result of the behavior you choose. Situational inducement occurs when you seek settings, people, and other circumstances that support your efforts to change and avoid those likely to derail your change. Also, it's important when you're taking action to have positive self-talk. Self-talk can reflect your feelings of self-efficacy, so try to use rational, positive statements. Practice stopping and blocking negative thoughts, and concentrate on taking positive steps forward to positive behavior change. You also want to make sure you stop and reward yourself for the improvements and goals that you do achieve. Positive reinforcement can increase the likelihood that a behavior will occur. Positive reinforcers are classified as consumable, activity, manipulative, possessional, and social. You can look more about that in your book. Finally, another thing to do that's beneficial is journal. Writing down your personal experiences, interpretations, ideas for improvement, and results is an important skill for behavior change. Since journaling is beneficial, this is actually a huge component of your behavior change project this semester. You will be responsible for journaling 5 days a week about a specific behavior change you are working towards. Okay, so now that I've given you an outline of the skills needed to support successful behavior change, you're ready to apply these skills to your target behavior. You may have not chosen a target behavior yet, and that is totally fine. You have until Tuesday, September 2nd, to figure out what behavior change you want to make. You will be filling out the behavior change contract. I highly recommend taking the lifestyle assessment and also doing your weekly assignment 1 prior to deciding what you want to do for your behavior change. Once you fill out the behavior change contract, I want you to actually copy and paste from the Word document I provided, and you don't need to copy and paste the directions, but just the behavior change contract part copy and paste that into your journal for this semester, and that will be your first entry in your behavior change journal. After that, you can read the instructions, but you will be posting at least 5 days a week, and of course you're welcome to post all 7 if you want to, but I will only be grading 5 of them. So I kind of just stuck this slide here randomly at the end, but I thought it was very interesting, and it actually also might give you some ideas of what you want to work on for your behavior change project. These are the top 10 reported impediments to academic performance for college students. So you can see up at the top is stress, sleep difficulties, anxiety, all psychological things. Well, not sleep, but the stress and anxiety. We're going to be talking about that next week. So anyway, just take a look at this. There's more information about it in your text. So take a look at that. It's good information.